Hi, it's Chef Rick, and today I'm making deviled eggs. First thing we're going to do here is get a pan of salt water to a simmer. Simmer is like that, where you'll see bubbles coming off the bottom of the pan, but it's not violently boiling like boiling water. We're going to hard boil some eggs, so whenever we do that, stick a pin. Always keep a pin near your knife block in your kitchen or just somewhere around. Stick that in the bottom of the egg and lower the eggs in, and you'll see that by piercing the hole in the bottom, you see those little bubbles that come up. That just stops the shell cracking, so it leaves you with a really nice egg. So we're going to have these on a medium simmer for about 10 minutes. Keep 10 minutes as your benchmark. Once they're done, immediately plunge them into cold water with ice if you've got it, but just cold water will do, and leave them in there for around about 5 minutes, just until they're nice and cool. That cold water is going to stop them cooking straight away and stop your egg yolks getting that weird black ring around them. Now, after 10 minutes of being submerged into the cold water, just going to peel them bit by bit. Take your time. I usually tap around the edge of the egg just to loosen up the outside, and then just work the shell off slowly but surely, because you want these to stay really nice and neat and clean. Once you've done that, this is what we're left with. And now we're going to take each of the hard-boiled eggs and just chop them in half. You can see how that middle's perfect and lovely and cooked through without being that weird overly it doesn't have that black around the outside, and it's not overly kind of rock solid and set. And then now, just with a bit of time and patience, scoop out all of the yolks. They came out really quite easily just using my hand like this, or you can use a spoon as well, of course. Just make sure all of that yolk is taken out. So there's the yolks. You can see the whites there on the left. To those yolks, we're going to add some mayonnaise. All the quantities will be down in the description below. Some English mustard. Some salt. That's paprika. Tabasco sauce. Things like the paprika and the tabasco sauce, add as much or as little as you like. I will put the quantities in the description that I use, but again, I like it nice and spicy. Traditionally, these would be used with a curry powder, but this version uses the mustard and the paprika and the tabasco for the heat. So give that a really good mix around with the fork. You'll see it's not perfectly smooth yet. Don't worry about that. Just give it a really good mix at that stage with a fork, and then use either a hand blender like I'm using here, or put this in the blender. It's much easier with a hand blender, of course, because you keep everything. You're not going to lose any of the that yolk kind of sticking to the side of a blender. Now some extra virgin olive oil, and keep mixing it, and you'll see how amazingly smooth this starts to go. Tiny bit more seasoning, so a little bit more salt and black pepper. And it was already really smooth because we added the olive oil, and we're using the hand blender, so now we're just going to give the salt and pepper a good mix in with a spoon, and it will remain really lovely and smooth. We add a drop of boiling water just straight from the kettle as well. This is going to give it the final kind of shine that you like from it. And also just keep it really lovely, and it gets it even smoother. As you can see now, that's what we're dealing with. Loaded with flavour, plenty of spice in there, perfectly smooth, very rich. Give it a little taste, and then just season it to your taste at that point, whether you think it needs any salt or pepper. If you want it to have a much spicier kick like I did, I've added more Tabasco. But again, this is for you to really fine tune it and get the exact type of flavour that you want. If you're serving it to guests, this is obvious as well, but if you like it mega spicy but you've got loads of guests that you're serving it to, don't make it mega spicy. Almost put some Tabasco on the side and let people drip it on if they want. Into a piping bag. So first thing I do whenever you're using a piping bag, snip off the bottom, because you'll have the amount of times I've put stuff in and then gone to snip it and put the nozzle in and you can't do it. So the first thing to do is snip off the bottom, roll the piping bag down because we're not going to absolutely fill this to the brim. Put in your metal nozzle, the widest star nozzle that you've got. That's piping bag ready to go. And now carefully, because we don't want to waste this, we haven't got so much of this that we can afford to waste it. Don't forget the yolks came out of the eggs that they're going to go back into, if that makes any sense at all. So scoop this back in and get it down near the nozzle as best you can. And now we're just going to simply pipe into the whites. And I'm not the best piper, but you can see this looks really nice and neat even with me doing it. So like I would say, just keep it in one spot, and that's what you're going to end up with. They're ready to eat, of course. Just for decoration now, I chop some chives and just sprinkle some chives over the top and a little sprinkling of paprika. There's deviled eggs. They're quite old-fashioned. They're a bit 70s, but I think they're absolutely amazing, and these get polished off super quick. They're really, really wonderful. I hope you enjoy watching the video. I hope you enjoy making them yourself. Thank you very, very much, and I'll see you on the next one.